Hey, Shalom Akim Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I would like to give all praise, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and also teaching this truth, and much peace, love, and salutation to the elect, beginning with 144,000, all the way down to the large multitude that believes, and who the Lord will deliver in these last days. To you all I say Shalom. I'm the brother Tazamah from the Great Millstone Dallas Camp, coming back today with another lesson, and I pray this lesson will be edifying to the elect. And Shalom to you, Akhwath, or you few sisters that believe and follow. All right, Shalom to you all as well. I want to do a quick lesson on this video that was done. It's a video that was put up, or rather say, the title reads, "Iran is the distraction. Here's what they're hiding." All right, and the individual that you see here on the screen is a guy by the name of David Icke, and this is actually a pretty good video. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it's things that we do know. It's things that there's things that we already know and understand. And through the Spirit, beginning with our apostles, bishops, and elders on down, we have been warning and letting you all know that this is all really just the beginning of the Great Reset. Now, the Great Reset has really been taking place and happening already. You have individuals at the World Economic Forum, for the likes of Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates, Donald Trump, Larry Ellison, Sam Altman, Elon Musk, Benjamin Not a Real Jew, Benjamin Netanyahu, Jared Kushner, all these individuals, right? All these individuals that I'm naming, these are all, pawns, really in the grand scheme of things. When you look at the global elite, those that are multi-trillionaires, the top 1%, they're the ones that are pulling the strings. All right, this whole ceasefire with Iran for 2 weeks, and Israel bombing Lebanon and sending 100 missiles in 10 minutes, and killing over 200 civilians and injuring thousands, and blowing up Beirut, and attacking Hezbollah, and the Strait of Hormuz being closed, and them shooting missiles on this Gulf state, and gas, all that. I'm just be blunt, man. All this really just some bullshit, man. All right, the ceasefire and all this, all this manipulation of the gas prices in the markets is all bullshit. Okay, it's all bullshit and smoke and mirrors, man. As a matter of fact, let's do this real quick. All right, let's say, what's the definition? All right, what is the definition of smoking mirrors? Right, because that's exactly what it is, man. Remember, we're talking about individuals that rule. Matter of fact, let me get a precept before I get the definition. We battle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Right, this is Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12. It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. And the rulers of the darkness of this world go into the top 1% of the Edomites. All right, now you do have the descendants of the Edomites that are on the planet Earth today, but the main ones that are actually calling the shots and making moves on the planet Earth, specifically these chess moves, if you will, because everything is, there's nothing done by a coincidence. Everything is done by an agenda. All right, these individuals are being controlled, if you will, and they work with the left hand. All right, they work with the spiritual demon Satan. That's why the scripture says, let Satan sit at his right hand, which, according to, to qualify that scripture in Psalms where it says, let Satan sit at his right hand, is beginning with Judas Iscariot. All right, whenever he betrayed Yahweh Shai. But, wisdom comes in, wisdom is twofold, as it says in the book of Job, the 4th chapter. So Satan sitting at the right hand now, Satan sits at the right hand of these devils, man, these Edomites. That's why Yahweh Shai said, ye are of your father the devil, of the lust of your father you will do. And he was talking to those wicked scribes and Pharisees, but he was saying that y'all pretty much acting like the Romans, man. Y'all acting like some Edomites. And they really do deal, with spiritual wickedness in high places, man. All these things about the Epstein files being released and all the news and media, it's all bullshit. It's all smoke and mirrors. And these people follow the boob tube, and they think that, there's going to be peace in the Middle East, and, you know, maybe Donald Trump can do this. He's controlled. All right. He, as David Icke says, he's a gopher. Okay. Benjamin not a real Jew, is a gopher. All these individuals are gophers, man. They all are being controlled. They're being told what to do. Okay? And we through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Shai have been telling y'all this, and we can point these things out in the scriptures, man. Okay? So once again, it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay? Spiritual wickedness in high places. Okay? And this is why when they fall, it's going to be so epic. That's why Yahweh Shai said, he said, I beheld Satan fall as lightning. All right. Did he really see? Is this talking about Lucifer? Air quotes. Lucifer. He was an angel of music, and he was God's favorite angel, and he was so beautiful and so handsome, and he just got so mad one day. He was like, man, you know what? I could take on the Most High, like Bishop Nathaniel. We could take him down. Right? Inside joke. He just got so jealous of the Most High, and all of a sudden he just tried to fight the Lord. And it was just this galactical, you know, spiritual battle between demons and angels in the heavens, and then the Lord just casting him, threw his ass down into earth. You know, and all of a sudden he just eventually just got some bat wings and a trident tail, and then, you know, became the ruler of hell. This fiery burning furnace in the middle of the earth, where bad spirits that are made out of fire, by the way, go. Okay, no, when Yahweh Shah mentioned that he beheld Satan fall as lightning, it's talking about the rulers of this world, man. Because we're living in the elite's heaven, and their main goal is to get everybody onto this new system, which is why they're imploding the economy. All right, mind you, I said imploding. They're imploding the economy to usher in the new world order. That's what they're doing. This is why you see this event going on in Iran, and Bibi been saying this since the early 90s, that Iran is working on a weapon of mass destruction, and they did the same thing with Iraq, with Saddam Hussein. Even though Saddam Hussein was working with the American intelligence, you know, even in the 70s, man, and in the 80s, you know, being supplied with chemical weapons. You know, then eventually when what they do, when he's done with you, and you see the same thing go on in the entertainment world, when he's done with you, he'll wring your ass off the dry. You know, but all this Epstein files and releasing this file, and all the Epstein files are going to be released, and they all in the news with a binder that says Epstein files on it, written in white and, you know, big black letters with a binder, and they over here pointing into the sky, Epstein files. It's all bullshit. It's all smoke and mirrors, man. You see, because the rest of these people are being deceived into being deceived, man, and they're gonna ultimately fall to their destruction. Okay. Let's read this one more time. Let's actually read this in the AMP, the Amplified version. It says, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, contending only with physical opponents, right? Because everything is spiritual. All right. When we learned that from our apostles, bishops, and elders, that everything is spiritual. I mean, the scriptures say it. But everything is spiritual. Even encounters that you meet with people, man, it's all spiritual, right? But against the rulers, against the powers, against the world forces of this present darkness. Okay, and what did Yahweh Shai say? He said that now, what's that? John, I'm gonna get to the video. Don't worry, I'm gonna get to the video. Just bear with me. I don't have anything lined up. The Spirit is guiding me. I think it's John 16. For he was spears in John 14. Bear with me. Damn. Let me cometh righteousness. The prince of this world is cast down. I know it's in the book of John. All right, because we're living in a time right now where Esau, he's being exposed. Okay, he's being exposed to being the devil. All right, okay, it is John 12. Or is it John 16? Well, we can read both. John 12:31, it says, now is the judgment of this world. And who's ruling this world? Esau's ruling this world. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. And the scripture says that what? The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Okay? Yep. John 16. All right, this is John 16 and verse 8. And this is talking about the comforter, or which the comforter is the comforter. All right, it's the spirit of Yahweh Shai, all right, that guides us into all knowledge, for us to understand these the truth and understand these mysteries, right? It says, and when he has come, talking about the comforter, the spirit of Yahweh Shai, right? And when he has come, he will reprove the world of sin and of righteousness and of judgment. Okay, and this is what you see going on through the prophets that are out there teaching. The world is being reproved of sin. We're speaking of the righteousness of the Most High, which is via Yahweh Shai, and of the judgment that's going to come. It says of sin, because they believe not on me. Of righteousness, because I go to my Father, and ye see me no more. Of judgment, here's the point, of judgment, because the prince of this world is judged. You see, who's the prince of this world? The prince of this world is talking about Esau. We just read it in Ephesians, the 6th chapter. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Okay, because Esau's getting ready to be judged, man. He's getting ready to be consumed. He's already been consumed by the spirit of the Lord's mouth via the prophets. Us going on the highways and byways, beginning with, with High Priest Abba Bivens, which we believe in the spirit is John the Baptist coming back in the reincarnation. All right, converting the hearts of the hearts of the souls of the fathers to the children, and the children to the fathers, as the prophecy said would happen. Okay, the valley of dry bones, Ezekiel 37, which began here in America, us rising up on our feet, Revelation the 11th chapter, and what great fear fell upon them. So now things are moving more quicker. Okay. Now I got the definition here of smoke and mirrors, right? Smoke and mirrors. It says the obscuring or embellishing of the truth of a situation with misleading or irrelevant information. You see, this whole situation in Iran, which is biblical prophecy, all right, the least of the flock is drawing America out. Remember, the scripture says the least of the flock shall surely draw them out. So America is being drawn out by the tiny tops. Don't get it twisted, because ultimately Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is the one that's in control. He's the one that's working on the hearts of men. Okay, Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart or his mind is in the hand of the Lord. You see, but what Esau will throw out there, he'll throw out all kinds of distractions and enchantments. You see, because he's a master warlock. You see, and he'll play on the people's emotions to make them think that, oh man, gas is going down, or the war in Iran, a ceasefire this, and Truth Social posted that, and the Epstein this file over here, and So once again, it says the obscuring of the obscuring or embellishing of the truth of a situation, or the truth of a situation, with misleading or irrelevant information. Misleading or irrelevant information. You see? And this is why the scripture says that he's a forger of lies, and he's a physician of no value. That's all he does is just forge lies. Because ultimately he has an agenda that he's following. There's an agenda that's being pushed, and you got to look beyond Donald Trump. You got to look beyond this politician here and this politician there. You got to look beyond all that. You got to look beyond all that, man, because you got to even look beyond Israel. Because you got the tiny tops that are in the land of Israel today, which is our land, and they're professing themselves to be the chosen people. Absolutely, like it says in prophecy, Ezekiel 36. Absolutely. See, but who's pulling their strings? Who's pulling the strings over there? It goes deeper than that. You're like, oh yeah, Donald Trump's being controlled by not, Bibi. Which is true, but there's a deeper, more sinister hand behind it, which is being ran and ruled by the elites of the Edomites, man. And all these various different nations are on. They're all in on it. Psalm 83, they're all in on it to cut you off from being a people. When I say you, I'm talking about you Israelites. Psalm 83, they're all in on it. They're all confederate one with another. So it's all smoke and mirrors, man. Okay? They're getting ready to shut the system down and implement the new. Out with the old, in with the new. All right. So what's up? I'm gonna play a little bit of this video. This is fair use, by the way. Fair use. According to the 1973 Fair Use Act, this is all fair use.
Or at least take you out of public circulation in some way, because they are absolutely ruthless. You know, these people that seem to be in so much power and have so much money, only why they serve the cult. Once the cult thinks, no, it's in our interest now to cut them loose, they will. And no problem, because they're just gophers to this inner circle. And if it becomes the best thing from the cult's point of view to cut and run with Trump, then they will. If they think protecting him and keeping him in power so that he'll continue to do his role that we want for him, then they'll watch his back and make sure that he's protected. But it's a whole different way of looking at the world and how the power structure works. Because if you only look at it on the level of daily events and politics, you're never going to get it, because that's way out from where it's coming from.
You see that, and that lines up with the scripture in Revelation 13:11 that he had two horns like a lamb. He has two horns like a lamb. All right, but he's speaking as a dragon. You know, he has two horns like a lamb, but he speaks as a dragon through his politics. You know, because people trust in the shadow of Egypt, man. You know, people trusting in the shadow of Egypt. You know, people trusting in the system as if it's going to go on forever. You know, so with them thinking that the system's going to go on forever, they really think that Babylon could be healed, or there's going to be some sort of healing to this place, man. No, this is a systematic implosion. You see?
Great foundations of this cult is control of perception, which means control of behavior, but also, and it's connected, control of attention. So they're creating dramas all over the place. So, oh my God, have you seen what's happened now? Oh my God, what's Trump done now?
Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, they do it, because it is in the power of their hand. They devise iniquity, they devise mischief, and they work evils upon their beds. And then when the time is set, when the appointed time that they have it set, when the appointed time comes, they fulfill it. And they got their left hand so-called prophets on the left hand side, their technocrats, which is their so-called prophets on the left hand side, prophesying to the people about what they getting ready to do. You see that there's a clash between the prophets of Baal and the prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, just like in the time of Elijah. You had Elijah the prophet that went head to head and contended with the prophets of Baal, but who came out on top? All right, who came out on top was Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, because he's the only and true power. Because these demons and these devils, they really do truly worship Satan. You know, they really do worship all these missing children and the drinking of BLOOD, you know, all this stuff, all these things that they into, the child, the child, you know, y'all get what I'm trying, y'all get what I'm saying. I don't want to say too much because I want them to cut the video, but the child SACR, you know, the sat to the crit to the FICE of children, man. And all these things you can read about go back to ancient Hamites, man. And they're in that same energy today. Okay?
It's all drama. And of course, what's happening now in Iran is a massive drama. So it's an attention attractor.
You see, it's an attention attractor. It's a drama, but in the midst of this drama, prophecy is unfolding. Because even before they went into Iran, the scripture said that beginning with the apostles, and I remember when I first came in, I would always hear, I didn't really understand in the beginning, you know, but I would always hear, once they go into Iran, that's it. You know, once they make their way into Iran and attack Iran, that's it. I remember always hearing that in the beginning. And now look. And Iran's a key piece, because who's the main ally of Iran? China and Russia, leading into what, Ezekiel the 38th chapter. You know, you got a Donald Trump talking shit against NATO. You know, telling NATO they need to step up, which is all theatrics still. But it's still prophecy coming to pass, because the scripture says that what, the 10 horns are going to hate the whore. So the Lord is orchestrating all this drama, man, and it's beautiful, man. Call Allah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. That we see this and we can understand it. Because the average everyday person that's walking out here in these streets and don't know what the hell's going on, they just in la la land, man. Don't have no idea what the hell's going on. They think that shit, you know, they think that things are going to eventually get better. Hell no.
A magnet, obviously, understandably. And what I would say to anyone is, when something massive is happening, whether it's 9/11 or the invasion of Iran, lift your eyes from the attention magnet and look at what else is going on over here. Because while you're looking there, lots is going on over here. And so I started out talking about Trump having two major roles. He has others, but major roles. One is trashing the current system, and the other is facilitating AI coming in. Well, obviously,
in the midst of all this, you have all these AI technocrats that are being set up in high places. I want to say that he appointed 13 he appointed 13. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Elder Yashawama brought this out. Hold on 1 second. All right, here it is. Trump's new science panel is stuffed with high-tech billionaires, and it's specifically 13 of them. Today's announcement named the first 13 members of what could ultimately be a 24-member policy. Larry Ellison of Oracle, he's into the whole AI. Mark Zuckerberg of Meta, aka Facebook. Jensen Huang of Nvidia. Lisa Su of AMD. Sergey Brin of Google. Why is he appointing all these people to a science panel? Because they're getting ready to tie everybody into this new system, which is going to require a microchip, man. That's what's coming. The science panel. In the midst of all this war going on, you got the appointment of these individuals to a science panel. It's all an AI race.
What's happening in Iran and so many other things, he's trashing the system, but he's also facilitating the whole AI thing. And while we're focused on Iran, we're not seeing that is moving on faster and faster and faster. I noticed.
Y'all remember Operation Warp Speed, right? Keep all that in mind.
That, you know, Elon Musk has an opinion on everything, but he's not said anything that I've seen anyway, unless it's very recently, about Iran.
Oh, it's not happening in his world. Yeah.
No, because what he's been doing, what he's turned X into, and that's what it was meant to be, was why they allowed him to buy it, along with many of the other usual suspects. He's turned it into an AI promotion, propaganda platform.
That's why all these applications now, whether it's Microsoft Office with Copilot, whether it's X with Gronk, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's Google AI, everything is embedded with AI. And even jobs, even at my job, everything is AI this, AI that, AI. You use AI for everything on my job pretty much damn near now, because what are they getting ready to do? You ain't getting ready to have no job soon. All of us ain't gonna have no job soon. I read an article today that said that 20% of full-time jobs in America have been replaced by AI. 20%. That's a lot. So they ain't moving slow with this, man.
Full. Constant. They just like machine gun fire now. And the idea is that you trash the system, but you've got to bring in the new one. And what I'm seeing daily, all the time, is the ever quicker stepping stones towards that end, which is to connect the human brain to artificial intelligence. I talked about this in the previous interviews we've had.
See that? To connect the brain
and to
connect the brain with artificial intelligence. All these data centers all over the place. AI this, AI that, Starlink, all these Starlink satellites that are low orbiting satellites. Artemis 2 going so-called to the moon, and Artemis 2 goes to the dark side of the moon, as far as there's ever been. It's all bullshit. It's all smoking mirrors, man. It's all bullshit. Okay? When I say it's all bullshit, I'm talking about the things that we see in the media that's being broadcasted. It's all smoke and mirrors, man. You see, that's why when everything really hits, it's gonna hit like a thief in the night. It's gonna hit like a thief in the night. Now you can watch the rest of this article. You know, I'm limited on my time. You know what I'm saying? But you can watch the rest of this article. I'm gonna get one more precept real quick. I'm gonna end it off. That's a good video. Lord willing, I'll put it in the description box. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:11. It says, "And for this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie." See that? And because ultimately they're wondering after the image of the beast. So they're believing in a lie. They believe in the lie of Make America Great Again. They believe in the lie of Babylon being healed and things getting better, right? It says that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness. See that? You're gonna have a lot of people that's gonna be destroyed, man. And they're gonna die in very, very horrific fashions. Ceasefire and True Social Post, and you have 48 hours. You got 2 weeks to get everything back online and open up the Strait of Hormuz, or else I'm going to get very mad. Yeah, I'm going to shoot missiles and bombs. It's all bullshit. You got an individual that's in the you got an individual that's in the so-called WWE Hall of Fame that's president. Come on, man. Come on now. Anyways, man, you know, I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Chakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders, a great millstone that taught us his truth and also teaching his truth, and much peace, love, and salutation to the elect. Until next time, I say shalom.